All right. Welcome to Come Follow 33. This is episode number 10.
10.
10, yes. I'm Ted Thomas and my
And
co-host.
I am Peter Grogan, his co-host.
Very good to see you again.
Ditto.
Ditto. Yes, we had a nice meal.
Always.
That was a really good meal.
I'm well fed here.
Well fed here.
Yeah.
That's what we could tell our viewers. If you do come on the show, you're going to get fed well.
Exactly.
And it usually includes a dessert too.
Right. And a very good dessert. I mean, if you know Ruth, you know.
Yeah.
You know?
If you don't, you will.
If you don't, you're missing out. If you know, you know. Yeah, that's what they say.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let us jump in here. We're going to talk tonight a little bit about faith in the workplace. I feel like we've talked about maybe this a little bit in other episodes, but this one is very specific about how do we walk out our faith in the workplace.
Yeah, and I feel like this is a very necessary episode because I deal with this a lot, and it's being new to the faith, you're very enthusiastic and very excited. And I think also ultra sensitive, ultra hyper, which I am, ultra sensitive to certain things. And the workplace, I think it depends on the workplace. Some people I think have a more strict workplace. My workplace is very laid back, and I think that leads to certain people just kind of being a little too lax at work and forgetting about all human behavior.
Right. Well, I think the other thing you said, you trying to set some boundaries, I think, that are new to some of your coworkers, right? As you come to faith and you're like, hey, some of these things, maybe I wasn't involved with all that, what do we call it? Water cooler stuff.
Right.
But I might have been a listener, and now I'm like, I might need to put up some boundaries there. And that can be difficult, especially depending on the environment. Like you mentioned, yours more laid back, mine's more corporate, but yet outside of corporate, there could be things. I remember going to the gym, playing basketball, having to, hear every type of language that I wasn't appreciating anymore.
Right.
You might have been the Lord's name being used in vain, other things that would come out, and you're just like, why?
Yeah. And that's exactly what I run into over the past couple of years. And in fact, because, I was new to the faith, new to a belief in God at all, I would get reactions like, well, I didn't know you went to church.
Right.
And part of me wanted to say, well, does that even matter? I mean, there's a certain way to behave, right?
Yes. There's a basic decency that
decency
that some people expect. But I think the other part is everybody's on this different journey, right? Like where they're at. This is common. This is okay. And then you kind of make this change in your life and you kind of see like, wow, that was me. I was involved in that. I was this. And now I'm trying to change.
Yeah.
And that's not going to always be received very well by all your coworkers or people who, I think you have friends and then you have coworkers, and sometimes those things kind of there's not like a line there. Sometimes at work, they're a friend, but you don't do anything outside of work with them, but you're very friendly toward them. You work together well. You have some things in common in the workplace, and then you're like redrawing some lines, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And, even so, my nephew is my boss at work, and he knows me a certain way, and has for, he's turning 45 years old. So for 45 years, he's known me as a specific type of person. But however, he's been very gracious, I guess, about changes in my respectful about changes in my life, even though I can tell that it's not exactly what he's about, but he's been very, very respectful and curious. Like he's asked questions, but he's known a specific side of me and a version of me that, still exists, but I think a much more refined version of who I am or who I always was.
Yeah. I think we talked about this when we first come to faith. People want to know, is it real? Right? I've known you this way, for this long period of time, and now you've decided to go on this other path, this other journey, and it's
Yeah.
I might be curious about it, but I'm also watching. I'm
Yeah.
also
And what's your motivation?
yeah,
You know,
yeah, what's in it for you, right? Or
if they only knew.
yeah, I remember one time somebody asked me that question. They asked me that question. So what's in it for you that you're reaching out to me and you're talking to me about my life? And it
Right.
was like, I want to get to know you because I want to share my story of what God's done for
Yeah.
me, and I want you to experience that, right? But there
Right.
wasn't but I think that's people are like, they want something from me.
Well, yeah. I mean, I
The
think,
guard goes up, right? "Well, this
of
person
course.
isn't this other person. They must be wanting something."
Right. Trying to sell me something or
Mhm.
trying to get me involved in something that's not legitimate
Right.
or something, it's a pyramid scheme.
Exactly.
And it's like, it's really not a pyramid scheme. Okay. Just wanted you to have, this path as well. Just wanted you to see it, maybe learn about it, you know. But yeah, I mean, I've heard from numerous people the same kind of thing you just mentioned. It's like, that's weird. That's weird that at 55 years old you just decided, you're going to completely abandon your belief system.
Right.
Like, well, I mean, I guess you could look at it like that,
Mhm.
because I guess that's true. But uh, it's a great payoff,
Right.
you
That
know,
that's that
without getting
what we're
preachy. It's
talking about right
just,
now
yeah,
is quite a difference between you and I. Like, I've had to over a period of time, and people know this who I am, but it's took a long time, and
sure.
it still does. People are still
Right.
looking to say, "When's he gonna trip up?" Right? Even after this time, how are you gonna behave in the workplace? This is how do you take Sunday version of yourself and into a secular
Right.
office on Monday? I think
Right.
less about we talked about, I remember even early on, Sunday going to church and feeling really good about did something good. I was with my grandmother and right. And then on Monday, I was no version of that person on
Right.
Sunday. But
Yeah.
I think what we're trying to say is this what the God that we worship on Sunday, we worship 7 days a week. How do we take him into the office on Monday? Because Sundays like our for us, our Sabbath, our rest, our enjoyment of worship, fellowship with other believers, and then we have to go to work the next day.
Right.
And how do we take that joy and what we've learned and what we're trying to become into the workplace on Monday?
Yeah. And one of the really great things, at least in my life, since I've become a Christian, is that I go to work on Monday, and a few people at work that have learned that I'm going to church now and that I believe in God. And I mean, it's like, hey, happy Monday. How was church yesterday?
Nice.
I get that a lot, and it's kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. And of course, some of those same guys will be like, oh, I guess you can't play golf with us because you go to church on Sunday. It's like,
There's going to be a
you could play on
dig, and
Saturday.
there's going to be right. There's going to be it's still going to be that right. Like
Of
there's going to
course.
be some.
Well, we
What did
also
you
have
do?
there's a relationship at work where everybody kind of has those friendly digs.
Yes.
So I get those, but I know what those are from certain people. There's a couple of people where it's like, okay, if you're going to say something like that to me, then I know that you're kind of
Right.
being inconsiderate.
Yeah.
But there's some people that, they're like, oh yeah, you had church yesterday. And then I know they're just kind of goofing around with me.
Hmm.
And it's like, yeah, I did, you know?
Yeah. I think it's good to read the room
Sure.
on Monday,
Yeah.
right? Because some people may have had a horrible weekend, or they're looking to vent some of the things that maybe happened to them.
Hmm.
And then you might come in with some excitement about what happened over the weekend. I mean, we just
Sure.
came off of Easter, amazing weekend. But reading the room and understanding what people's appetite
Hmm.
is
Yeah.
for talking about godly things, about spiritual things.
Yeah.
And I love, sharing praise reports, sharing some good things that are happening, and also sharing some hard things. Like, hey, I'm still this person I'm trying to follow, but on Monday, and I had a hard weekend, right? Like being able to do both, right? To be able to come in on Monday and share some of the good things, but also still be working on that relationship that's now changed because there's this, okay, you're this now. I don't really reconcile people don't reconcile that for a long time because they're on a different journey. They're on a different path.
Yeah.
But we want to, I think, create these opportunities for people to ask questions. Something hard happens to you. How did you deal with it?
Right.
Now something happens hard to them. Maybe
Yeah.
they come to you. Oh, I see that you have this new piece, or I see, you're a person of character and integrity, right? That
Yeah.
maybe you weren't, maybe you were, but you still engaged in things that kind of put you in a position where I can tell this guy anything,
Yeah.
right? And I say that kind of in a, like some of those conversations it would have been good for us not to be a part of.
Right.
Right. But
Yeah.
we were, but now we're trying to kind of set some boundaries to say, hey, here's where I'm at in my journey. I think we need to show both sides when we get on Monday
Yeah.
that it's not just all roses.
Yeah. And for me, on Monday mornings, every Monday, we have a project management meeting at 8:30 in the morning, and it's all in person. And for probably the first couple of months that I was going to church, I I didn't bring it. I didn't bring anything up about church or anything about my weekend and in the meetings. But Monday morning meeting, everybody's kind of like, what'd you do this weekend? How was it? But now, I mean, I make sure that I kind of talk about, hey, how was your weekend? Oh, it was great. We did this. We did a lot of work on the house on Saturday, and then Sunday at church. If I sang with the worship team, I always bring that up. Because they all know that I'm into music too. So it's like, oh, it was great. I sang with the worship team, and or whatever. I'll bring up some kind of topic from church,
Hmm.
but I won't. And it's going to sound weird, but it's like I don't want it. I don't get preachy.
Right.
It's just, oh, here, it was interesting. This was a topic, and something, and I'll usually bring up something kind of humorous because Mike's pretty funny for the
Right.
most part, or whoever. Johnny's funny too. So it's like, so I mean, I'll bring up something, and it's, I mean, it's a I get a pretty good reaction. I mean, I think I've shared with you before that I have someone at work that I've had to kind of deal
Hmm.
with language and some conversation topics where it's like, I don't really want to get involved in that if that's okay.
Right.
I'm here at work and I got to get my job done. I mean, I'm a conversationalist. We have conversations about our work that sometimes will bleed into not work stuff, and I'm good with that. I don't mind talking about current affairs or pop culture or music, but it's like there's some things that I really don't want to discuss at work or hear from you at work.
Right. You're setting a new boundary,
Yeah,
right? I think I'm
and it's
saying
kind of,
boundary a lot, but
yeah,
it's kind of like those aren't things I want to talk about anymore.
yeah,
And could you, I would use language like, hey, could you not use that type of language around me
yeah,
anymore? It's offensive to me. I know I would appreciate it. Like you're just asking them. Like, and once you do that, I think one of the things that's been encouraging is that the first time people are like,
yeah.
who are you to tell me?
I know. Yeah,
They're really like,
dealt with that.
"Arr," and it's like, but I stood up because I was like, that offends me.
Yeah,
What you said, especially when it comes to using the Lord's name in vain,
yeah,
that offends me. And
exactly.
I'd appreciate if you don't use that around me, right? Or I don't use that language in my house. So
Yeah.
I don't really like to hear it here at workplace.
And for the most part, I mean, I haven't been so ultra sensitive at work, but I have kind of stood my ground, and at this point, things have gotten very good.
Hmm.
And, this individual has learned that that's not really cool with me at work, you know? And I mean,
It
things are
hasn't
very
changed
fun
your relationship with them, right?
at all. Right.
I would say other people, I've even had people who would apologize. Like they would say it and they're like, oh, I'm sorry. No, thank you for recognizing it. Like
Yeah.
even when people catch themselves, right? It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, just like many things with us
Well,
doesn't happen
I mean,
overnight.
I had to catch myself for a while too.
Right. Exactly. You're like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah,
That was
I think
borderline.
that's the part of taking the Sunday version into our office on Monday. It's something we want to do every day, not just on
Yeah.
Monday. So, but I think that's a process that we're going through to learn how to engage with our coworkers,
Right.
right? Because
Yeah.
we've been engaging with them for the longest time as
Yeah.
coworkers. And then now we're trying to shape a way that says, hey, I'm trying to work on this in my life. It's
Yeah.
just like, I think if there was some bad habit you had and you're trying to work on it,
Yeah.
I don't want to say Christianity is that way. You would share. Hey, I'm not smoking anymore, so please don't talk about smoking,
Right.
right? Like
Yeah,
I'm trying to work on this in my life, right? If you
exactly.
can put in a way like I'm trying to be a better version of myself and be a man of integrity and character, and I'm gonna blow it, and I think there's other opportunities. Hey, are we quick to ask for forgiveness? Are we quick to apologize when we blow it, right?
Yeah.
That could be another opportunity for us in the
Oh, yeah.
workplace.
Yep. Absolutely.
This other one's kind of an interesting question. We're still in the workplace.
Okay.
We're not leaving there,
We're
but
not
it
leaving the
says, "Have
workplace.
you
No,
ever had
it's
to
not
choose
5 yet.
between?" Say that again.
So it's not 5 o'clock yet.
Not 5
Yeah.
yet. Yes. Have you ever had to choose between a win at work and your faith values?
Hmm. Yeah, that's, I don't know that I have. I think thankfully I don't have to really get involved in any kind of decision making or any activities that contradicts how I feel or how I live my life. I mean, I've been in sales for a very long time, and there was a time when the answer to that would be absolutely, except that I wasn't a believer at the time,
Right.
so I guess no. But yeah, I mean, what I'm doing now and where I am as far as in the workplace, thankfully, I don't have to really compromise any of my beliefs or to get something done. I think everything's kind of on the level.
I think we'll talk a little bit more about that just because people who are listening may have to make decision like, "Hey, I want to keep my job and pay my bills, or I'm gonna stand up for something."
Right. And I
Right?
think, to go off on a slight tangent, there were definitely choices that I had to make, but they weren't necessarily about my faith. There were things that was like, am I going to do this and lose my job, or am I going to not do this? But yeah, I mean, nothing really faith based without getting too into it. But yeah, I think there's
Yeah, I
some
think I'm gonna
compromises.
turn this around a little bit because I think I've chosen to have a loss for my faith values sometimes. Like I wasn't going to compromise, right? I wasn't going to chase after something where it could possibly compromise my faith, right? So
Right.
I'm turning this around a little bit. I think there's been many opportunities in the workplace where I would have to, and maybe not just my faith values, but just my family values in the
Yeah.
sense of putting work before family. And I've chosen to say, yeah, I don't need to climb the corporate ladder and
Right.
do everything necessary to sacrifice my family, right? I've tried to do that as well as I could. I do think there's some times where there's things that occur in the corporate world where you just keep your mouth shut,
Yeah.
you know? Like, it's like, I don't
Yeah.
agree with that, but I'm not gonna say anything because it doesn't have anything really impacting to me. People who have other experience, they're not asking my opinion, so I'm not gonna give it. So there could be situations like that. This is an interesting one because, like, if our bosses watch this episode, right, what would they be thinking?
Yeah.
I think we have to, again, our values, where are they, and how are we ensuring that those values that have been put before us, and we're continuing to learn how to be better and better at that. I think
Yeah.
there's times where an example would be I'm trying to prove myself right
Yeah.
at the expense of somebody else. Like, hey, I know more. I've had some conversations where someone would say, "It seems like you're a know-it-all," right? And
And then you said, no, man, no way. I don't know it all.
I exactly. It's one of those where in the moment I was like, I'm trying to prove my point, and that's at the expense of somebody else that may not have as much experience. So how I'm going about it in the workplace, how I'm speaking about something that maybe I'm passionate about, or I'm
Right.
like, I feel like I'm right. So therefore I need to prove that I'm right.
Yeah.
Could be some opportunities where my faith is not coming out
Sure.
in that discussion, right? Like I'm like, oh yeah, I might have been right. Like, you won the fight, but you lost the war,
Right.
where you're
Yeah.
like, oh, you are right, but you just lost the whole other
Yeah.
team.
And you mentioned, like you said, you were turning it around, and it's as you were explaining that, and it made me think, you know what? To kind of amend my answer.
Okay.
Uh, it's funny because I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, I guess the answer could be yes, because there are, I mean, there are projects that I have actually not gone after because, they may have been associated with something that I wasn't necessarily comfortable with,
Mhm.
and it's like, okay, I'm not gonna go after that project right there. I'm gonna set my sights on these over here and kind of maybe just put that one to the side. And it wasn't like it was a decision that I had to make that was, do or die for my job.
Right.
But it's like I'm not gonna try to get that one because it's not exactly. I don't feel comfortable with what they stand for.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I guess I have done
Yeah. I
something
think we
like
need to
that.
talk about maybe if we talk about some hypotheticals, it'll bring some up in our mind because sometimes we forget.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about, our first job. Here's a good example.
Like your very first job as
Very
a
first job.
teenager.
Yeah, like first job I was a paper boy,
Like, okay.
right? And oh man, I compromised all kinds of things because I learned how to beat the system, right? Because it was for the money.
Right.
I was, oh, I
Exactly.
could, if I got three new people to sign up, I get this prize.
Yeah.
So how do I find the fastest way to sign people up? Give it to them for free so I could get a prize. Like just work in the system, like always
Yeah.
looking for ways to, this is before I was a Christian, but I want to use those examples because it's like, okay, this seems good. I'm working the system. I'm making money. I'm not, just
Yeah.
I find myself justifying, right? Like, hey, these are all
Sure.
good
Well,
things.
especially as what, probably 12 years old.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
making
mean,
$100 a month as a 12-year-old is
imagine having a hundred
even
bucks.
today.
Yeah.
$100 today for a
To a 12-year-old.
12-year-old a
Yeah.
month.
Exactly.
That's a
Yeah.
lot of money,
Of course it is.
and that was a long time ago.
Right. You could fill your gas tank not a
Maybe
couple times,
once,
one
maybe
and a half.
once.
Yeah. With $100.
But I'm trying to get to like there's things in the workplace that, hey, I want to get to here.
Yeah. Will I
Um,
compromise my values to get to that
right.
that place? It's interesting because when I mean, wasn't my first job, but I worked at the movie theater at Del Amo Mall. For those of you watching, outside Southern
Was
California.
it was AMC?
No, it
No,
was United Artists.
United Artists. That's
Yeah,
right.
this
Yes.
is a long. This was 85.
Wow. This is a connection. You want to know another connection? I'm just going to share it because we always
Okay.
have this. I worked at Montgomery Wards in
Which
Del
was
Amo
right
Mall,
there.
right close
Yeah.
to United Artists,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Selling photography photos, free 8 by
Oh, okay.
10s
Yeah.
on Sundays.
Was that around 85 when you're
Probably.
16, 17?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was working at the movie theater and I mean, you know my personality, so I mean, I wasn't just some guy working at the movie theater. Eventually the bosses, they knew me cuz I
Mhm.
was a loud mouth and,
Ralph.
yeah,
No, not Ralph, Ponzi.
I was potsy. And so there was a campaign for, I think it was called the Will Rogers Institute. And they would, before the movie started, they would have you go up to the front and give a little speech and ask for money for the Will Rogers Institute. And, I
So that
was,
was you?
well, I was one of the guys. There was me and a guy, his name was Ken. The two of us were kind of loud mouths and we were kind of, we were aggressive enough. And we went up there and and here's the thing is that we would get a very small percentage of that money. Not
There was a
that money, but it would be like a bonus that we would get. And I mean, we're talking small,
right, but
but
it was something more than your hourly wage.
so, and what I'm getting at is the two of us would really put on a show. I mean, we were like, dramatic. And just all we could
Your
think of
theater was
was
coming out,
we
wasn't it?
get some of this money. So it really was
So you
just like,
compromised some of your values with some of your
for sure, yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. But I mean, that's who I was at 16 years old. It was like, man, I want a little bit of money. I can buy, I mean, I think I was buying records. I was still buying baseball cards at the time. So it was like, okay, here's my priorities. I had a Volkswagen. So, I mean, we had to buy gas for
Yeah,
75 cents a gallon or something or whatever it was back then. So it was like, yeah, I'm motivated by money and I'm going to put on a little extra and maybe stretch the truth a little bit to get
right.
people to put more money in this thing. Cause you know, 0.5% or whatever it was. So
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
there's so many examples of that where, hey, I'm trying to either make more money or help somebody else out
yeah,
that compromises our values with, you know, what we should be doing.
right,
Right. I think we're speaking with, hey, we've been in the workplace for a long time. Maybe you're new in the workplace and you've got to make a decision and you got to stand up for it, right? In the long run, you can look back and say, I stood up for what was right
yeah,
versus I compromised on my values because I wanted something. What was it that you needed? I want to be sensitive to people who, really need a job and
sure,
pay for things, but then also knowing that God's the provider. He's the one that will provide for us and he will honor that.
yeah,
God's going to honor those decisions. It might be hard that you look back and you said, okay, I made this decision. And I think sometimes it's good. We had some conversations yesterday about if you're going to make decisions like that, do you have a circle or community? It always kind of comes back to, is there
hmm,
somebody else you could talk to about, hey, I'm looking to do this. What do you think about that? Right.
right,
That have the same values as you.
right. Because
Right.
you
Because
may
then,
be thinking to yourself, well, maybe this isn't a bad thing, or maybe and your group might say, hey, I mean, that's might not be something that you would want to.
right. Or they might be, no, don't do that. Right. This happened to me. Right. Like there's other people with other experience. I always think of it like the slice of the pie of your experience is just this one slice. And then once you open yourself up to a village or people in your life that are
Hmm.
mentors or people who are neutral but want the best for you, right? Maybe not your parents
Right,
always, but who are these other people that you respect and trust that you'd
right.
be willing to ask them and they're going to give it to you their opinion, right? And sometimes you need that because I think a lot of times we operate by ourselves. We make
Yeah.
decisions and then we're like, "Oh, that wasn't the best decision."
Well, yeah, I mean, when you think about it, I mean, it's really just, you're kind of alone in your head with you and God. So it's like getting other people's input and perspective could
Mhm.
really help,
And I think also another thing with the workplace is once you kind of make a stand for your values and you share with people, you're not like a closet, you're not, I know that's a bad term, but like I can't do that. Or I don't want to be about it because the God that I worship, this might not be the right words, but my values don't align with that. And I have to live by the values that I aspire to be. That sometimes is hard, but then it sets this, oh, there's other people in the workplace that now go, oh, you're a Christian,
Yeah.
right? Oh, then you find other people and you're like, okay, I can trust this person because they have the same values in
Yeah.
the workplace. So that's the other thing. The sooner, you don't want people not to know.
Yeah.
You want people to know, and then they will adjust. Some will, some won't, but
Yeah.
they will adjust. And then you'll find others who will be encouraged by your witness.
Totally. I mean, I have in very just non-threatening conversations with customers, with manufacturers, just in the moment have said something very non-threatening. Oh yeah, someone I go to church with is in that same field, or something as innocent as
Right.
that.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, where do you go to church? Or what denomination are you?
Yeah.
What
What
this or
faith
that?
are you?
What
Right.
faith? Yeah, and
Hmm.
it's just like it's a very non-threatening, very innocent comment
Hmm.
that I've kind of used a lot in some of the conversations that I've had. Just not necessarily using isn't really the right term because I mean I'm not. It's like I don't really have an agenda, but it's it just comes up, and then it's like I mean I've made some connections with some colleagues that I didn't really even think there was any kind of connection there. It was just, oh, we speak every once in a while. And then it's like I say something about church and oh yeah, well oh I'm in my church worship team too. I was like, oh cool,
Yeah. Now you have this new connection
totally. And
that's
then one like one great benefit of that is, in the AV world, we do a lot of like house of worship. And so this particular guy that I was talking to was working for one of the manufacturers, and he's like, well, hey, you know what? We do a lot of work in house of worship. I you and I should talk about this, and I can get you connected with these people that do this. And it's like, okay, well,
like a
there's a
door opened, right?
yeah,
That
that was a huge,
another part of the business, right? That you get. Yeah, that's awesome.
he opened a window. Yeah,
Yeah. The other thing, what you're doing, right? Like, I think it's good to share, like, I'm sharing about this podcast and
yeah,
I met this other guy I knew that he was a Christian, but then he told me about, oh yeah, during COVID, I did this podcast. And it's kind of made me think about what
really,
other things I might do with our podcast, right? So
yeah. Was it like a
again,
mid-tech podcast, or was it?
yeah, it's pretty low tech.
Sorry, yeah.
Um, I got
All
you.
right, I
I think
made
we're
you laugh.
rounding third.
Okay, good. Yeah,
I can feel you
you're rounding there.
rounding third. But yeah, again, building a community of people, seeing who in your workplace are people of faith. The one thing I do want to share also is um, being sensitive to people who are of faith, but maybe a different faith.
Sure.
And I've had opportunities that, I'm a corporate manager, so I've got to be very sensitive to that. But I talk to people about God,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah,
people
because that's
worship God, the God that
right.
I worship, and people are more receptive to talking about it, right? And then
Yeah,
you can learn about their faith. You can learn, I think it's always good to learn about other faiths
of
as
course.
well. And then when they have questions, you answer questions about your faith and it's just opens up this door to that is not just specifically about work that may open doors for to have these spiritual conversations because again people are on their own journey and you might be just that person that's in their path in the workplace that you can make a difference.
Yep.
So that's going to kind of wrap up our episode. I think we
Sliding
have
into
a
home.
quick I do have a quick
Sponsor.
sponsor tonight. Yes, you were going to ask me who's our sponsor tonight,
I
Ted.
was about to ask you that. Yeah. Yeah.
I was
I was
waiting.
very curious.
You're
Well,
very
I didn't
curious.
want to interrupt you because you were on a roll.
I know. I do that sometimes. Monologue. Someday I'll have
You're
a
like, ah,
show that I
this
do a
guy again, huh?
monologue with some music in the background.
Oh, yeah.
But
There you
yeah,
go.
our sponsor is Acupuncture Associates.
Okay.
I've been going to them for probably about 15 years. And I asked, her name is Dr. Sakamoto, and I asked her if she would let me be a sponsor, tell her about her company and about acupuncture. I had a coworker from work tell me about her, and I had done chiropractic work quite a bit for back. Had some back pain.
Okay.
It wasn't working so great all the time for me. And he said, "Hey, you should try this acupuncturist." And she is probably one of the kindest people that I know.
Okay.
Uh, she once you get past that you're having needles put in
Yeah.
you,
I think when
which
you're getting needles stuck in you, you want it to be a nice person.
you do want it to be a nice person.
Okay, sorry.
The whole process was so um she's such a kind person that she's more than just an acupuncturist. She's
Okay.
actually like I think she's like a therapist. Like most of the time you go in there and she's like, "So why are you here?" And you're like, "I got this pain in my neck." No, no, why are you here? What happened? What did you do? What's been going on in
Oh,
your life?
okay.
Like there's
Yeah.
more to it than just the injury because
Yeah.
not everybody, had a catastrophic injury when they go into
Sure.
the doctor. They
Yeah.
got something that's happened over time. And she's really good at diagnosing kind of like, yeah, this is probably part of it. And
Wow.
that part is
Are
relaxing.
you crying at the end?
Sometimes,
Okay.
not very often, not because of the pain. There's
No.
relatively low pain with this. And it's
No, I
mostly
just meant
relaxing.
because of how deep she got into your
Oh, she
head.
got up deep into my head. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. We're we're sliding into home
We're
here.
sliding into home. Acupuncture Associates,
Yeah.
they're in Torrance. I would encourage you to get past the, hey, I'm getting needles. They actually bring a lot of blood flow to areas that you're having
Mm,
pain. This place doesn't have you sign in multiple sessions. You can go one time.
yeah.
You can go until you feel better. And they accept most insurances. So
Yeah, I think I was
it's a good
asking you
plug,
about that
right?
because
So
I'm
they accept our insurance. So that's the other part.
yeah, because I wanna try that. Truthfully, I wanna try that. I've been a little bit scared,
Yeah.
because I'm just like, what is that gonna feel like?" But you and I had a conversation a couple weeks ago, and you were like, "No, it's kind of initially you feel something,
Yeah, like
and
a
then
pinch,
yeah.
like a
Oh, yeah,
and then it
like
goes
that,
away,
okay.
right? Like, and then it's like, okay, and then when you leave, you feel so relaxed,
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
I think it's the process of like identifying why you're there,
Right.
having the treatment, and then having the person that's there by your side kind of helping you walk through like, hey, here's
Yeah,
some of the things you can do in order to get yourself back to where you want to be. So,
that's cool. I'm close. I think I'm going to try it.
well, the next time you have something,
Yeah.
there you go.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm 57, so I think it's every morning.
Yeah, there could be something.
Yeah, every morning it's like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
And it's interesting. A coworker referred me. So in the workplace, I found somebody who I have a relationship with that would say, hey, you got to try this out. And I
Oh,
did. And it's
and
been
then you
great.
introduce them to church.
Yes. And I've introduced other clients too to
That's
them
good.
through work, through, just other people. So it's been good. So,
Awesome.
so that's going to wrap us up for episode number 10.
10. Can
10.
you believe it?
I can't believe it. We've
Yeah.
made it through 10 episodes together. We found another connection, which was good.
Yeah.
Um, that we worked at the Del Amo Mall,
That's right.
probably at the
Probably at the
same
same time.
time.
Yeah.
And, he was up
I think I had to kick you out of the movies one time.
maybe. That was Old Town Mall.
Oh,
That
okay.
was the Dollar Tuesdays. If you were
I was
there,
always there too.
you would
Yeah.
have had to kick me
Yep.
out because
No, I didn't work at that one, but I was at the Dollar Tuesdays a lot. Yeah.
yes, yes. So, all right. Well, that's going to wrap us up. Please leave us a nice comment, subscribe, share with a friend. Want to encourage you to help us get the message out about come follow 33. 33 is for the man Jesus who lived 33 years on this earth. He had a ministry for 3 years and just changed the world.
Yeah. Tell a friend. If anybody out there ever asks you, hey, do you have any ideas about how I can kind of learn about Jesus or how I can recommend Jesus to a friend or family member, recommend Come Follow 33, because I think that we can in an easy way introduce them or at least give them some ideas or options. So
All
yeah,
right.
tell a
That's
friend.
tell a friend. That's a wrap.
All right. God bless.
God bless you guys.